hookshot, hammer, flippers, flute, mirror, moon pearl.
I want to say I had one seed where that happened not too long ago, but then it hasn't happened in months previous. So yeah, pretty rare.
Monochi's saving quitting out. I confess I don't know if they made it to the item in the dark room, and I don't know if we'll know.
All right, it's getting chat saying that it was rupees. They were seeing the rupee count tick up.
Oh, nice catch from Blasty G there. Lake Hylia Island is the mushroom. You're only really getting information there. You can't quite get to it yet without a couple of other things. So when it's the mushroom, you're not really getting any information because the mushroom can lead to just about anything.
Yeah. As long as you remember to turn it in.
That's right. Hobo is going to be just a piece of heart, and he's going to save and quit out as Monocheese is heading back into escape. Not done yet.
Yeah, if people missed it during some of the technical issues, the Titan's Mint was in Ice Rod Cave. So that almost takes Aga 1 off the table. Is possible the Moon Pearl is on the pyramid, or that the hammer is inside the Fat Fairy. But
yeah, if this seed wanted to rear its head as something truly evil, rather than the fairly, average seed it's been so far. Haven't found too much, but the things they found have been pretty good in the Bow and Titan's Mitts.
Yeah, it's definitely been, outside of Kakariko Village, the other starting locations here in the Light World have been pretty stacked.
Just a map for Monocheese as Andy gets just rupees in Sahasrarla's hut. Both players coming up dry.
I'm guessing Monochi is looking at this, doing escape here as opposed to going directly to Eastern with that bow. It's wanting to see if the lamp is actually in here so he knows whether or not he's doing sequence breaking by heading over and doing the dark rooms in EP.
Has the bow, but no arrows, so has to do the 8/ on the guard and does a very good job. Usually you see arrows early on, and you kind of shake your head, oh darn, not very good. But you want at least some when you have this early game bow.
Yeah, right. At least, thankfully, Eastern is pretty well stocked with them when he heads over there.
And looks like that's the way he's going. It's a pretty obvious play at this point, and the boots are waiting to be found there. Andy's going to be the first one to get him. Going to be dashing around.
Yeah, it looks to me like we're basically confirming ourselves that we're going to be like triple dipping Turtle Rock or something. It never goes this well this early.
So boots are going to open up, I guess with Titans, but that already opens up King's Tomb as well as Bonk Rocks, and with the book and boots and gloves, they're pretty close to being able to finish Desert.
Right, just looking for a fire source. Yeah, the Light World really opening up here. This makes me wonder if the Moon Pearl is really buried in the Light World somewhere, since it's giving you so much access to it immediately.
I bet it's literally buried in the shovel spot. I don't know how we'll get there, but that's just the feeling I got.
All right, that's a good call. I like that.
It's not going to be in the chest that Andy just opened here in Eastern. Could be in the big chest. We'll see. Big E going to enable the check right now. No lantern, so in the logic, the next item in this progression is not going to be contained outside of that big chest.
Right. Of course, the lamp could be sitting somewhere accessible, like on Sick Kid or an Aegina's cave or something. But we don't know that.
All the same, Andy's going to have to do this room in the dark, like Monocheese, should Monocheese decide to go that far in, and I think they probably will. Andy having no trouble getting into the second area, getting the key very quickly, so things going very well in the dark for him.
Yeah, one of the easier dark rooms when you decide to start learning them. This is this one and the trip into Death Mountain, probably the two to start with.
Yeah, and definitely some of the most helpful early on. The odds that you're going to have the lamp by the time you get to something like Mire or Turtle Rock is pretty high, but the odds that you're going to have it by the time you get to Eastern are pretty low. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, Andy, all the way up to 25 arrows. Monochi's still at 0, but we'll definitely be picking some up shortly. Like, how about 10 for killing the Stalvos? 8 bombs as well, not too bad. Just gonna be 2 for Monochi's, but we'll grab them all the same. Andy in the second dark room, much trickier to find the Igor in the dark, down to half a heart, trying to get these bow shots that are, I mean, they're literally shots in the dark here.
Yeah, just you can just leave the room and fall into the pots to refill your health with the fairies and reset everything.
I heard something die, not the Igor, and he's gonna bail.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, definitely the right call here. You're starting to get, well, not run out of arrows, but you're starting to get down there, half a heart. But much better than taking a death.
Yeah, I'm surprised he stayed in there as long as he did. Andy, perhaps a bit stubborn. We'll see how it goes this time. Enemies reset here, so...
There we go.
Yeah, was able to kind of find him in the dark before he woke him up, so knew exactly where he was going to be, just needed to time the arrow.
Yeah, exactly. Much easier to do once you reset the room, and especially with all the Muse dead.
And for safety is going to be picking up all the pots, getting all the hearts and arrows. Do need a healthy amount of arrows. If you don't have silvers, you're going to need 18 at least to take out the Armos Knights. Or rely on the sword, but that's pretty slow.
Oh man, I killed them with a fighter sword once. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, you take for granted just how much damage the arrows are doing to those Armos Knights. Going for 2 shots on the Igors as Monochi's is heading into the Igor Dark Room as well. Not sure if he's woken them up yet. I think is looking for the... Oh, really struggling with this one, as Andy is not struggling with the Armos Knights. Not quite getting the quick kill, but very handily handled.
Yeah. This is, for anyone unfamiliar with the combat, in Link to the Past, when enemies get on you, they tend to sit in your sprite during your iframes and just combo you when you really can't do anything about it. So in the dark rooms, that can really get on you. Like that Igor for Monochi's got right inside him and basically sat there to bring him down to 2 hearts.
Yeah, it's the worst. All your attacks from Link he kind of leans out and throws the attack outwards. So if something is in your sprite, none of your attacks are gonna hit it. And yeah, that's a death from Monochi. Gonna take a bit of time to get back there, so Monochi is gonna save and quit and give up on Armos. And that's a shame.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, there's a decent chance you'll be back here with a mirror for Pod at some point, so probably not gonna wind up being too big, more of a time loss than just taking the death already is.
Meanwhile, Andy's headed over to King's Tomb, and I missed it, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything big, and now probably over to the Bonk Rocks. These 2 locations opened up with the boots they found in Eastern, so I'm the kind of person who tries to hear what the seed is telling them, right? And so I'm the kind of person who's thinking it's either desert or here, and it's not here. So Monochi's is heading to desert, and has gotten ahead of Andy a little bit here.
Yeah, it's a little odd if you're going to do this, to me at least, to not check Agina first, simply because you don't have a fire source. I mean, if the lamp is sitting in there, I mean, you save yourself potentially a trip through desert.
Yep, I agree. Agnes Cave is out of the way, but not too far ahead of the way from desert itself, so I would definitely pop in there. Meanwhile, Andy says, screw it. I don't care what the seed is trying to tell me. I'm going where I want to go. I'm sequence breaking. I'm doing Death Mountain climb here without the lamp. And that's going to open up some locations. No hookshot or mirror, so pretty limited scope, but could maybe get something juicy out of this sequence break. We'll see. Just rupees for now.
The important thing to remember whenever you do a sequence break is to remember what you get out of it, because that can really help you locating the items that you've theoretically sequence broken by doing this.
Mirror found in Desert Palace, so that could open up if something was on top of Spectacle Rock, but it looks like it's not. But something could be in Terra. I think it's actually pretty likely that something is in Hera. So Andy's trip up Death Mountain is going to be a little inefficient for doing it without that mirror, and that's a little bit of a time gain for Monocheese.
Yeah, the other thing that you don't get to see very often that might do is you're a flute away from the Moon Pearl theoretically being in Checkerboard Cave, which doesn't happen very often.
Oh, that'd be a treat. I've seen that once before in all of the rando races that I've seen, and that was a different logic. I don't know what it might be even more rare on V26.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen it since the V26 drop. It's been a long time.
Monochi is actually walking out of Desert Palace here. Does not have the fire source to finish it. And is dashing over to Agnes Cave as Andy is doing some of these escape locations that Monocheese has already done. Wait, no. Did either of them do the front half?
Yeah, Monocheese did do.
Okay. Both runners are 2 and 2, so this is a very important race for both. 3 and 3, I think you can probably still have a chance to get in there, but it's going to be tight. So getting up to 3 and 2 is pretty important for both runners.
Yeah, this is the 2 and 2 matches are super important just because it lets you know in the final week, are you fighting for your tournament life or are you fighting for an automatic qualifier?
It can really change the way you approach those races mentally. Monochi's going to be checking some of these boot opened locations that Andy's already been to while Andy's doing the escape. Oh, right. We saw that ball and chain fight from Monochi's. Of course, I should have remembered that he already did this, but Andy has arrows this time, so it's going to go a little better for him, taking damage on purpose to set up for a death warp.
Yeah, he's going to be grabbing his rupees from the Dark Sewer chest. And Monochi's checking out Sick Kid.
Yep, they did find a bottle in their adventures over to the overworld and Eastern. Can't remember exactly where it was. Maybe not many Moldern. Somewhere. Andy's trying to work in the dark again.
So Monochi's probably heading down to grab his Titan's Mitt here from Ice Rod Cave. And it'll be interesting to see if he decides to do any fake flippering to Hobo or King Zora from here.
Yeah, Andy did not have the rupees for King Zora at this point, so the fake flippers adventure ended at Hobo, but Monochi's might decide to go up that way. No flippers, so not going to be able to get Zora Ledge, but you'll at least get some information up there. Pretty decent play.
I mean, unless they know how to do the walk on water sequence break with the boots.
I think you need the Moon Pearl to do that, right?
No, you can do it without the Moon Pearl if you have boots.
Oh, okay, got it.
Monochi's did pause there for a second, so I think he thought about it, but he's decided not to.
Yeah, but Titan's opening up the King's Tomb, making that a higher priority for Monochi's, as Andy is doing Agnes before Desert.
Yeah, and for anybody who's interested in any of the walk on water tricks or anything, I'll do a plug for one of our fellow commentators. GamerCal actually has some excellent tutorials on YouTube that explain how they all work. Definitely recommend checking it out.
I always learn a little something new every time I do one of these races, and now it's official. I learned a little more about the water walking glitch. A Link to the Past is one of those games that has just mountains of resources out there to learn from. It can be hard to to rather than find any at all, it can be hard to find what you need.
Oh, I know. And with the randomizer just getting so popular, people are just adding so much more. I actually watched Yagamov put together a video on all of the poultry 50-50 bomb locations, and that's super helpful for the rando.
Zora Ledge is going to be 50 rupees. So it's all about King Zora for Monocheese. I think it's King Zora. Is he a king?
I think so. It's been too long since I played the vanilla game in English where I could read it. Oh!
Is the King of Fire in this seed. This is important for both players, obviously, but Monocheese can now finish Desert with this Fire Rod. And it's not the lamp, so Logic not opening up Death Mountain and a couple other things. So what do you do with this Fire Rod?
Looks like Monocheese is going to polish off Eastern Palace here. There are lightable torches in the Dark Igor room here, so he's probably thinking that with this Fire Rod, he should be fine to finish it from here.
It does give up that opportunity of comboing it with Palace of Darkness, though. Has the mirror, but not the all the things required to get into the Dark World just yet.
Yeah, it is a little odd considering. I don't remember if Landmos has an item on them or not, but you could finish them off or do what Andy is doing and guarantee yourself being able to finish Hera if it's fire locked.
Yeah, I think I like what Andy is doing better here. His trip up Death Mountain initially got blocked by not having the mirror, but thankfully you get that save and quit location, so it's not too long to get back up here from there, and here he is. Also has the book, so we're going to be able to check Ether Tablet. No sword upgrade to actually get what's on there, and it's the Cane of Samaria!
That is the cane. Wow.
Big advantage in knowledge there for Andy. We'll see if maybe Tower of Hera has a sword upgrade with which to put it to use.
That's really if that's really nice too. If Meyer winds up being a pendant, because you could just grab your cane straight on the way to Turtle Rock potentially, and only have to come up here one more time.
Lucky for Andy, finding the big key there in Hera does not have the fire rod that Monocheese has. So if the basement of Tower of Hera was required to make progress, would have got stopped cold there. But the big key is going to let him keep climbing and keep checking locations.
Could still wind up with an important item locked down there, of course.
Yeah, we have seen the compass already. That was the very first item revealed. So if the map shows up in one of these other locations, then another advantage, another swing back the other way for Monocheese, who has the fire rod and will be having a very efficient Death Mountain climb when he finally decides to head up there.
There's your map, so there's something in the basement.
Monocheese having an Armos Knight fight. Not quite going to be able to get the quick kill there, but still very quick. It doesn't save all that much time. It mostly just looks cool. Moldorm fight for Andy. It's pretty low on hearts, but Blue Mail's going to let him be fine. Wasn't sure if he hit the switch, though, to refill, should that be necessary. Also doesn't have anything to do any more damage to Moldorm with than just the fighter sword, so it's going to be a fairly long fight. Making a short work of it, though, needs just one more hit. Gets it.
Yeah, pretty nice fight there. It was a little touch and go in a couple of spots, but
yeah, a lot of players like to hold the sword out and make sure that, when they get pushed to the edge, they can hold inwards and they don't get knocked off. Andy was just kind of running around, sword down for most of that fight, so it was pretty scary. A couple of bonks got knocked pretty far to the edges, but he does prevail.
Yeah, the thing that I would be worried about is Moon Pearl being in that basement. This seed is giving you everything to make sure you can get in there, so that's a little troubling.
Well, despite having everything to go... Wait, no, Lantern technically will hold up the item progression all the way up Death Mountain and beyond. But otherwise has all the things needed to get up to Hera and get whatever is in that chest, but Monoci is opting to finish off Desert instead.
Right, yeah, that's a good point about the dark room. So we basically would need to have either the flute, the lantern, or the moon pearl in Desert here.
Yep, pretty sure Monoci is about to find something. I never ever assumed that I haven't overlooked anything. I'm pretty good at that, but I think you're right.
Are you getting an early ped check?
I think so. We have no idea where those pendants are. But Andy's got the book and he wants to know. The thing about the pedestal is that there's a low chance that something is on there. But if something is on there and you know and your opponent does it, it can be like a game-winning... What? A better copy of your... It's a sword upgrade.
It's a sword upgrade, yeah.
So currently it is a vanilla Master Sword. What are the odds that is required somehow?
I mean, I suppose it could be. If the other two swords are in Ganon's tower or on the Bombos tablet.
Oh, I'm not familiar with this fake flipper trick, but Andy showing it off, fake flippering in that whirlpool just south of Link's house. I like that knowledge there.
Right, yeah. I didn't know about that one either. So, yeah, that's really nice.
Has a lot of extra rupees. Says, I got a bottle. Why not fill it up? As Monoci is heading into the Landmolda's fight, 2 long-distance fire rod shots. Oh, just barely missing the perfect one cycle there.
Yeah, really unfortunate that the last one short hopped directly at him.
And there it is. We knew it had to be something, and I would guess the lamp based off of the rest of the items leading them up to Hera. So the logic, everything is pointing Monoci's up to Death Mountain, and really there's not too many other places to go, so fully expecting Monoci's to head up that way.
Also pretty much means there has to be something of real worth in the basement. Either the hammer to get you over to the east side of Death Mountain, or the cape to get you into Aga 1, or your moon pearl would be the major choices. Hookshot, I guess, would work too.
I'm still trying to imagine the kind of seed that would require you to do 3 Dark World pendant dungeons just to get the sword upgrade to Master Sword on the pedestal. But I guess Master Sword only... I guess it would have to block something on... Well, Canis Tamaria is on Ether Tablet, so if those sword upgrades were in Ganon's Tower, the other 2, that would do it right there, I think.
Right. Then you'd have to have right side big key GT, so you'd need it. Yeah.
Exciting. Very low possibility. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but an exciting possibility nonetheless. That's my favorite part of Randomizer, honestly, is thinking about these incredible combinations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be... Oh man, yeah. I mean, obviously you're right. It's such a low chance, but what an incredible way to have a required pedestal if we just so happen to get lucky enough for that.
Or unlucky enough if you're Monoci or Andy.
Right.
Andy's heading into Desert for the second time, I believe. Monoci is making the first trip up Death Mountain, and it's gonna be a pretty fruitful one.
Yeah, and it could turn into a really, really efficient check depending on what item is in that Hera basement.
Yeah, if you were to find Hammer or Hookshot, I think Hammer probably works out better because you're already up top. But something to get over to the east side, and then something on the east side like Moon Pearl to get into the Dark World and do that while you're up there. And
right,
the efficiency. Oh, I love it. We'll see.
So we did see a map check there. Pretty sure I saw pendants in 3 of the corner dungeons: Skull Woods, Mire, and Ice.
Monochi's getting that interesting knowledge that a Cane of Samaria that, I mean, I was gonna say likely it's required, but as far as Monochi's, oh no, Monochi's the one who checked the map, so Meyer Pendant, but Turtle Rock Crystal means it is required.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting.
And yeah, Meyer Pendant, so you could literally leave that cane there right up until you come up here for Turtle Rock, potentially.
Oh yeah, just have it sitting there in a nice little package waiting for you.
Yeah.
We'll see what kind of Lamolus fight Andy can get here. Missing the initial shot, but tracking down the other two and gonna get away from him a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine. Oh, just gonna blow the blue potion to speed the kill up.
Very nice cleanup there. Gonna be getting the lamp. So since Andy got fire blocked in Tower of Hera, he has now found both sources of fire. Not sure how he feels about that.
Yeah, probably not great considering he knows he left something up in Hera.
Monocheese will be showing us what it is in just a little bit, I'm pretty sure. Can't imagine that Monocheese is going to do Moldorm and then leave.
Looks like Andy is on his way back up here. They actually should get to this item at pretty much the same time.
This is pretty exciting. While assuming Moldorm goes well for Monocheese, does just have this fighter sword.
That's true. The boots do really help though, because you can actually dash through Moldorm's head to hit his tail as long as you aren't too close to dead center.
Opting not to do much with the boots just yet, and getting these really clean hits on the tail. Looking for that last one in the diagonal hit. That's going to knock him off. That's going to be a fall, so Andy's going to be the first one into the basement. One more try for Monocheese.
And yeah, it's a good point in the chat, actually. Since we now know that the cane is actually required, if the other two swords just happen to be in GT, this is a PED required seed.
We'll never know until those sword upgrades are... So wait, here's the thing. Like, what if you have all the crystals? And, like, you still only have the fighter sword, and you're like, I need a sword upgrade. Do you like go for the pendant sword, or do you look? All right, you called it Moon Pearl in Tower of Hera.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, obviously he needs some area to actually beat Meyer. So yeah, no, that can't be a required pedestal. That's right.
Monocheese is taking it easy on top of the pegs for the invincibility frames. As Andy has now got access to the Dark World.
Immediately coming up here, and he can completely clear out Skull Woods, which is the green pendant, which he now knows. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides to do that.
It's been a while since I've seen a player get to Skull Woods for the first time with the Fire Rod, so it could be finished, but it is not a crystal. All the same, Andy's going to be heading up here.
There is still a possibility we could see the runners pull the pedestal depending on how this seed actually plays out. I mean, you would have to be in a situation where you're essentially already doing the pendant dungeons looking for items anyway. But if you're up here doing Skull Woods looking for something and you wound up with all three pendants, I mean, there would be no reason just not to mirror and grab your tempered.
It all depends on where the remaining items are to be found. Just a compass for Andy so far in Skull Woods. Monocheese is going south. Andy's setting up the bomb jump. Makes it. Hardened rupees in the treasure chest game so far.
Ether medallion in that big chest, which is nice. We know we will need at least one.
I think there's a just about 50% chance that any given medallion is required in a seed. Changes a bit since Myers' pendant. Hookshot found in Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, that's really nice. Really nice find there. Let's see, it's Monoci. Okay, no, still passing on thieves for now. Oh.
Andy probably wouldn't mind getting grabbed after he opened the item, but not before.
Yeah, he was down to 1 heart there, so he was trying to get that Gibdo out of his way and then got grabbed before he could figure something out.
Does manage to get to the item this time. Small key. And then the death warp out. Has the mirror, but might as well get the health refill. Monocheese is down to the digging game. Gonna be just a piece of heart, but no hammer can limit your Dark World travels a little bit, but there's still a handful of locations here for Monocheese to check.
Right. The runners do technically don't have, without sequence breaking, don't have access to the eastern half of Death Mountain. Of the Dark World. So you would need either the hammer or the flippers or kill Aga 1 to officially obtain that.
So Monocheese is going to be turning in the Dwarven Blacksmith. That's kind of a mean way of referring turning in, treating the person as an item to be found. But in terms of gameplay, that's the situation.
Yeah, it is.
Going to be just 20 rupees as Andy falls into the Mothula fight. Has the fire rod, but only a couple of shots with it, and otherwise is the fighter sword. This is going to be a pretty tough fight.
Yeah, this is not an enviable situation here, having to do this on this low resource.
The thing about Mothula is if you hit Mothula into spikes, your attacks will do 0 damage. So where Mothula moves is very important. There are these blocks around the outside. You can use those as backboards and knock Mothula into them, and fantastic job of Andy staying alive.
Yeah, really nicely done there. That would have been a little bit sketchy if he had missed that spin, but... Oh, and Master Sword in the Grove Cave for Monochi's.
Every sword upgrade they find makes that pedestal pull less and less appealing.
Right, and that does officially give you access to your Canis Samaria up on Death Mountain.
Stumpy's got nothing for Monocheese. I think I'm going to go with Monocheese, though, if I can switch. I think I like that more. I think it's better. I think you're right. Purple chest about to be turned in just a little bit. Could leave it here and go check Hype Cave. Yep, that's what Monocheese is going to do as Andy mirrors out of the Dark World. Might go right back in, not sure.
Yeah, looks like... Actually not sure. Maybe it is just faster just to head down here and head back into the warp. Oh. Well, Flute in Hype Cave. And Tempered.
All sword upgrades found. That is a Hype Cave, I think.
I think that qualifies.
It's a lot closer than what Hype Cave tends to have nowadays in V26. It's going to return to the purple chest as Andy is only starting checking all of these Dark World locations that Monocheese has been checking.
Yeah, pretty interesting here too that with all of the hype surrounding doing dungeons in version 26, that Monocheese has opted to do a lot of overworld before going into dungeons, and it's really paid off for him this time.
There's the hook shot for Andy. And the sword upgrades that Monochi's has found is going to open up Bombo's tablet. Not quite getting far enough on there. Going to get thrown back into the portal.
Mirror box are the worst.
Is now up there proper. We know one of these things has King of Samaria. What's the other one got? Nothing much.
Just the slightly larger size bomb upgrade. So still missing, logically still missing our access to the eastern side of the Dark World. Something else you can sequence break with the boots if you know the setups. Be interesting to see if the hammer and or the flippers wind up hiding on the runners if they know or decide to do that.
Monochi's is turning in the flute. And can flute over to the Mire area and check some things there. Thieves Town is also open. No hammer, so there's always the worry about that big chest in Thieves Town, unable to be checked without that hammer.
So once again, opting to stick with the overworld here, going to do the eastern side and Dark Death Mountain, and I'm sure we'll be grabbing his cane while he's up here.
But first, we're going to get a look at Paradox Cave. Or, nope, going Death Mountain, or Dark Death Mountain, rather. Alright, setting up the mirror portal. We are, in fact, going to be getting Paradox first. Andy is on his way through some of the Dark World. This whole sweep, really, that Monochi's has already done. Quake Medallion has been found. Turtle Rock is required. I don't think we know what medallion opens it up just yet.
No, probably we'll be finding that out pretty shortly.
Bombs and even more money. Wow.
All the big 20s, wow.
A deflating finish there for the Hype Cave. Monochi's not opting for any sort of bomb jump, possibly because the portal's been left just outside here. Yep.
Yeah, this is, as far as we know anyway, the most optimal way to route Death Mountain out if you have the items to do it.
Oh, not quite far enough to the right to get the hookshot clip, so gonna have to go up and around. Just a minor time loss.
I've mentioned it before, that hookshot clip seems to be one of those things that when I do it, like, you hit it 99 times out of 100 or whatnot, and then all of a sudden you seem to get in this streak where you just miss it for a while. I don't know what it is.
Andy getting a bomb stolen as he works through swamp. Monochi is opening a couple more Dark Death Mountain locations. Not much development going on just yet. And Turtle Rock is Ether, so
Right.
Andy has access.
Interestingly, we have most of the items required for it already as well, just missing the hammer and then the ice rod to actually kill Trinex.
Yeah, if that hammer is found, well, Monochi's is going to need the Ether as well, so no possibilities of a very early Turtle Rock visit just yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Oh, half magic, really nice find.
And the single arrow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Monoci decides to go once he finishes Death Mountain off, especially if he doesn't find the hammer up here, because he's obviously looking to put Thieves Town off until he has it if he can.
Yeah, both players so far have... Well, I was going to say both players have made the decision, but Andy's doing Digging Game here, so he might head up to Thieves Town. As Monoci is grabbing the Cane of Samaria on the tablet. It's not going to be good for too much anytime soon, but is a required item, and always nice to have those in the back pocket.
Absolutely, it does have a few situational uses here and there for some random switch rooms, like in Skullwoods and Pod and stuff like that. So definitely worth grabbing while you're here.
Spiral Cave, I think, is the last thing. Well, maybe Spike Cave. No hammer. So Spike Cave off the table. It's going to be one of the last things Monoci does up here on Death Mountain.
Yeah, logically, I don't believe we've run across any invincibility items either to this point.
Nope, don't think so. Andy had a potion, but used it. I think the only bottles they've found have been empty.
Right.
So could brute force it with some sort of health refill, but neither player has that just yet. I missed the medallion there for Misery Mire.
Ether as well, I'm pretty sure. So double ether for our dungeons.
Andy also missing the hookshot clip up on Death Mountain. And looks like it's a shield upgrade in the Mire Shed.
Yeah, shield upgrade and bombs, not much. On checking out checkerboard here, I assume.
Oh, it was a green bottle. I couldn't quite tell. It was due to the background and the commentary viewer. It's a little sketch. Checkerboard Cave, just a piece of heart. So where does Monoci go now? There's some dungeons open. They've been open for a while. Looking like we're gonna see one of them.
I would imagine probably Skullwoods first, and he has not checked the pedestal, so I imagine he will mirror and do that while he's here.
Still locked out of pod without the hammer. Yeah, I don't think there's any way they can get in there or anywhere near it.
Could be interesting to see if we do see a sequence break over there, because the game could intend that you need to kill Icon 1 to get over there.
Oh yeah, that would... Wow, imagine if obscure... Like, I think it's a fairly obscure sequence break that you're talking about. I don't know it. That's not necessarily guarantees that it's obscure. But it's a little weird. And imagine knowledge like that being the difference between having to do AGA and not. That could be really big.
Yeah, I know. Having the knowledge in terms of the tricks and your technical abilities for stuff like hovering. I mean, every once in a while you'll get a seed where that kind of knowledge or that kind of ability will save you a bunch of time.
It's not quite set in stone yet. A couple of places left to be checked. Most notably Thieves Town.
Right.
They can get to, I think can you get to the graveyard in the Dark World?
Yes. Have we?
Yeah.
Did Andy go up there? I feel like somebody went up there, but maybe not. But if not, that's definitely a possibility.
This Mothula fight going to be a totally different dynamic with the Tempered Sword. Monoci with a very quick fight. Pyramid Fairy, they have crystals 5 and 6, but without the Aghanim Dark Portal or the Hammer, that's not going to be an option for these players just yet.
Yep. Another good point from chat. We do have that green pendant that just fell on Monoci's head as well that we haven't seen turned in.
Green pendant turn in definitely qualifies as one of those out of the way, missable, forgettable locations.
Right, especially if you can't route it in with a mirror from the pod side, which our runners can't do at the moment.
Andy's going to be getting Quake. Quake not going to be all that useful. But Andy doesn't know that just yet.
And yeah, Monoci's going to find out that the butter sword is sitting on the pedestal.
Probably not going to be pulled. Both players seem to be handling themselves pretty well, so don't expect them to be so desperate for a stick of butter that they'll do all those pendant dungeons. But who knows, maybe the logic requires them to go so far into all those pendant dungeons that it might be worth it to just bang it out. I can't really imagine it, but maybe.
Yeah, if they were finishing with Skull Woods, then perhaps, but I can't imagine they would make a trip back up there. Okay, so despite the divergent routes, both runners are essentially coming up to a point here where, other than perhaps a couple of isolated spots like the Graveyard Ledge, we're pretty much left to just Thieves Town here.
Yeah, both players have been nice enough to converge in their routing due to basically the same decision. Don't want to go to Thieves Town without the hammer. And that means we at least get to see who's in the lead. It can be nice to know. You can guess, and you can be pretty sure sometimes. But this one's pretty close.
Yeah, this is extremely close.
Checkerboard for Andy, coming up dry. Monoci's doing the other parts of Skullwoods. Andy's heading to that Dark World portal at 3.
And I'm assuming Monoci's will be headed out of here.
Yep, is going to want that Ether Medallion. And is going to get it in just a moment. But it looks like Andy is in the lead. First one to... Well, I think Monoci might have already opened Thieves Town, but Andy's the first one in. Cane of Burna, first find. Not going to open anything up. Still looking for something else.
Yeah, not on its own, anyway. Although technically you do need an invincibility item for most of the spike floors that are in the various dungeons or spike cave.
Yeah, they added that into the logic because of the one-hit KO mode. They wanted that to be doable, and for that reason, whenever there's something that requires you to take damage, the logic will not put the invincibility item you might need to get to it in that chest.
Right. Also prevents the last soft lock situation that I knew of, which was progression in Spike Cave, and the players had no way to survive it.
So Monoci's has headed over to the Graveyard Ledge. Oh, just a hard container. Doing everything in their power to avoid heading to Thieves Town without this hammer.
Right. And if hammer or flippers are not in Thieves, it'll be really interesting to see if we see some knowledge and some ability here to make some skips, or if we do in fact wind up doing AND4H.
I'm pretty sure I saw Andy get the pixel in the Hellway, but not the RNG needed to allow for the dash straight up, and that's a shame. I always like looking out for that. Makes an incredibly difficult room very easy if you can just get on that pixel.
Oh, just a piece of love for the green pendant turn-in.
That might have been the last hope for Monoci's. Can't think of anything else except heading into Misery Mire.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I definitely overlooked this, but this is a completable dungeon. It's a pendant dungeon. But, you know, what they need could be in here.
That's... Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is an interesting gamble to do this, as opposed to... I mean, I understand that Hammerless Thieves is not desirable necessarily, but...
Yeah, I feel like it's not that bad. Monoci's is avoiding it like the plague. But it's one location. Mire 2. Oh, it doesn't quite get the Wiz Robe. That's a very tricky room.
Still, like, most runners are okay with a 2-cycle in that room, I think. So, cleaned up pretty nicely.
So Andy's into the blind fight. Down to 3 hearts, and Red Mail's not going to protect him too much, so we'll see. I know Andy knows this fight. But blind can get away from you pretty easily. And once he does, you got to scramble. It's going good so far. Once you're through the first 2 phases, you can even kind of fudge it a bit for the third, and yeah, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Be in a bottle. No progression items found for Andy in Thieves Town.
No. So Monoci's play here might be the correct one. We'll have to see.
Yeah, they don't. They can't really do much in swamps. So yeah, I mean, there's always Aghanim. Aghanim opens up all those nice things. So we'll see. We'll see if Andy has that knowledge you were talking about.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that that you can do. You can fake flipper into Ice Palace just to hope the hammer is in there. That's an option. You can do the walk on water skip to get past this area here, to be able to skip needing the flippers over here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Oh, and the fetch shovel. Oh man.
Such an ambiguous find. Could be nothing, could be everything. For now, we're left in suspense. Andy gonna be disappointed by this heart, and no save and quit. Monoci's getting to the big chest in Mire. Key.
Andy realizing he can't go anywhere. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if he had something up his sleeve. But it's going to be a flute. Andy's going to be following Monoci to Mire.
But oh, to do the green pendant turn in first.
Oh, yep. That is still remaining for Andy to do. Question from chat, has Monoci found anything? And Mire found the shovel, so
yeah,
we don't know.
Let's see if we're going all the way to Vitreous or not.
Yep, this is a pendant. We don't have to complete it. We're only here for the items. It's a map. It's a map, and that's a wrap. Or, well, no, I guess it's not. I guess because we're still here, it's the opposite of that. But it's not what you want to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Knowing you sat through that 14-second cutscene of that wall opening for a burrito is never fun.
Chad telling me, like, it's okay. It sounded good. They got my back. Down to 2 hearts, Monoci. Into the back of Mire here. No powder. And I don't think has... Yeah, didn't find the net that Andy has. So health is going to be a concern here. No invincibility items.
Yeah, this could be a little bit sketchy. No invincibility items, as you mentioned, to cheese Vitreous with. No silver arrows.
Monochi's is going to have to play very, very solid. Perhaps maybe play defensively. It's possible to forego speed for a sort of camping strat with your sword. Just sit there and swing the sword at all the eyeballs that come at you. But even that is not really all that solid. The way you can kind of reset your sword swing with another attack at the wrong time can lead to a pretty bad situation.
Right, and there's not really a really safe place to stand because Vitreous can't hit you all the way in the corner with the lightning, and if you move further up towards the slime, it gets difficult to dodge the eyes if the ones closest to you start coming at you.
Ooh. I don't know if that baited the lightning or if he just got very lucky, but the lightning went all the way to the right side of the room, able to keep plugging away with arrows. Oh, that one strand of lightning wanted him. Was doing very good. I don't think missed any arrows. This is fantastic. Oh, bodied 2 damage even with the red mail. Oh, that sucks. Oh, it was doing so well in that fight, and then one small mistake and the whole thing is over. What if Vitreous is holding the item that these guys are looking for?
That's the danger. What if Viti is holding the hammer or the flippers?
Maybe Andy will show us, but then again, Andy's also pretty low on life. It's a rough go of it here in Misery Mire for these players. They don't have a whole lot of hearts.
Yeah, Vitreous is 4 hearts of damage from physical contacts with the eyeballs, reduced by 1 for each mail upgrade, so still taking 2.
Shovel is just 50 rupees!
Man, so logically it's either Vitreous or Aga 1, I think, unless we're forgetting something.
I never rule that out, but I still think you're right, and I think that is a horrible situation for these players to be in. But I will say, it is these sorts of horrible situations where I think the better player is able to pull ahead. When your options get weirdly limited to out-of-the-way places, your ability to keep calm and figure out what the best route is for all of that, in addition to, keeping calm and executing well on boss fights, that is where your ability to do that really shines. And Monochi's was doing amazingly in that Vitreous fight. No knock against it for dying there. It was just one tiny mistake at the end of a very, very, very good fight.
Yeah, I absolutely, completely agree with you. It's a little bit unfortunate when you play really well and one little execution mistake like that, or one little mistake in how you decide to route things winds up being the difference. But that's the nature of racing. And especially even more so with Randomizer.
Andy is down to this same very auspicious 2 hearts that Monochi was. Has a net and bottles. Are there any fairies in Misery Mire? I confess I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Down to 1 now. At this point, could even take a death to refill the hearts, but is surging forward. Oh, okay. We're seeing something. No, going back from magic.
The one thing that Andy does have, though, Andy has Brian. So.
Refilling on the magic to power up the Cane of Burna. That can maybe be something. I mean, the Cane of Burna is going to lag the crap out of the game for one, and is going to prevent you very often from... Can you actually hit things with your sword while Burna is active?
Yeah, you can't spin slash, but you can still swing. So yeah, you can just turn Brian on, wade right into the middle of the eyes, and just go to town.
That could be an incredibly important difference, and should point out, got that cane from the Thieves' Town that Monochi was so desperate to avoid.
This would be something if the cane of Brian winds up being like a big deal in how a seed turns out.
Yeah,
That would
decides the race. It all comes down to Brian. Oh man.
be,
We'll see.
yeah, that would. I couldn't even have. I don't think I could have imagined that. Really.
He's got the bow out though, Andy. Remember, he dies immediately as soon as one of these eyeballs touches him. He doesn't get to switch to Brian. If things go south, you know, can't rely on it as a backup. You either need to do it active. Oh my god! Okay, yeah, getting pretty spicy there, Andy.
Wow.
Lots of things. Was shooting eyeballs point blank. Was not doing anything about the lightning. Just stood there in the middle. That was not as well executed, I would say. Or perhaps executed as well, but just very bold, not very defensive.
Yeah, sometimes I think you just have to swallow your pride a little bit and just pull the cheese strats out. There's nothing wrong with it, especially not in a 1v1 situation.
So that is, I can imagine why both players in this situation would be thinking they're behind. And,
absolutely.
I would guess the advantage is Andy's because we know Monoci's not going to find anything in Thieves Town, but it could definitely swing. There's still a lot of big question marks. Is Aghanim going to be required? Because I don't think either player knows about this water walking trick you're talking about. Is something in Ice Palace if players decide to sequence break into there? There's still a lot of big question marks that can really make big impacts on this race. But for now, the big impact is what does Vitreous have, and can Andy get the rematch?
Right. I would imagine the runners will probably try Ice Palace before they resign themselves to Aghanim 1. It'll be interesting to see if the hammer is not in fact in ice, what they decide to do from there.
I'm trying to envision what sort of logic chain puts hammer in ice.
I mean, basically, it would be flippers either in pod or on the pyramid or catfish or something. And then having to go dice, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not really worth thinking about too much because there's only so many other locations the flippers could be. All right, round 2. Andy can take at least one hit here. I think only one hit. I think everything's going to do 2.
Yeah, it does. Oh,
barely avoiding one hit from that eyeball. Again, refusing to use Brian in this situation could be a conscious choice, and I know a little bit about Andy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was opting to go a little YOLO. That's all the little eyeballs down. I think he's going to have enough arrows to do it. He is. What does Vitreous have?
The hammer!
Oh my god, it was everything. It was everything and more. Monochi's is back in Mire and has a lot more health this time around. So this race, it's in Andy's favor, but it's still fairly close, I think.
It absolutely is. Monoci's is maybe a couple minutes behind him, if that. Definitely for this point in the race, this is anybody's game to take based on your decisions and your execution from here.
Andy fluted to 5 and then said, nope, whoops, 4 is what I want. I think he's thinking, I don't know what he's thinking. Shovel. Monochi's has already done this, so this is a little bit more time that Monochi's has that is going to surface here. The players are going to get a little closer. And now I think both players are pretty much even on locations checked and items earned.
Looks like Andy is just going to go straight to Fat Fairy here.
That's right. They've had crystals 5 and 6 for a long time, but not the items required to traverse the Dark World. Pretty much just the hammer, I guess. To actually get to the pyramid. Normally it's the other way around. Monochi's is full of hearts. And 31 arrows. Looking pretty good. Oh, and by the way, Cane O'Brien is going to be put to use. We'll see what this looks like. Monochi's is really wanting to avoid a repeat of what happened before. And just look at how much lag this thing causes. But look how effective it is.
Right. I mean, even though this is slow, it's better than dying.
It's a heck of a lot better than dying. Not even going to turn it off for the final phase. Even though Vitreous has a lot of health, does chew through it with the Tempered Sword pretty good there. I honestly thought that was going to take a bit longer. The arrows do so much more extra damage to Vitreous that you can be surprised how much health he has if you find yourself having to use a sword or something against him. Pyramid's got nothing. Well, I don't know. We haven't seen what's actually on top of the pyramid. Or not on top of it, but on it. Going for spin speed or hook speed, I guess there. Gets it. Rupees.
Sure, we'll be off to pod here. Possibly stopping the catfish first.
It's been an interesting seed. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a troll seed or anything. If that pedestal had been required, that would have been a bona fide troll seed. But as it is, dipping into a pendant dungeon for an item, not that weird.
Right.
Just very interesting that pendant dungeon happened to be Misery Mire.
And it happened to be the hammer cutting off so much of the world because the flippers were also missing.
So different Dark World location checks from the players. Monoci is prioritizing Hammer Peg Cave here, whereas Andy has gone out for Catfish. Catfish has got Bombos.
He knows he doesn't need it. Yeah.
Yeah, not good for too much, so not even going to pick it up. With Half Magic, doesn't offer you too much of an advantage in Ice Palace. As Hammer Peg Cave, pretty sure also came up dry for Monoci's.
All right, here we go. Both players essentially simultaneously on their way into Palace of Darkness.
Yep, they've checked a couple different locations, but for the moment, let's just enjoy how close these players are after all this. Well, I guess we get to enjoy how close one person is. All right, we're back. Monoci's dashing through the sort of forest maze thing here. Picks up the helpful but very cheeky Kiki the monkey. Opens up Desert Palace, but not until you give them 100 rupees plus change.
Yeah, plus change. The change depending on how often you get hit in between the fence and the palace.
That's true. It's been a while since I've seen a Palace of Darkness play where the players have pretty much everything they would want. I find very often players end up here early, and they don't have the mirror, so they're worried about like death warps, or they don't have the bow, so they're worried if it's bow locked or no lamp, or they got everything. So we're going to be seeing a pretty traditional pod clear here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a decent possibility that there actually won't be a whole ton of divergence from here, really. We're going to find either the flippers or the ice rod in here, or both, and it's whichever one you wind up with is probably going to decide where you go from here. The one interesting thing that could be left is if you find the flippers and not the ice rod, and you don't find it in Swamp either, do you decide to gamble the ice rod in Turtle Rock, or do you clear out Ice Palace looking for it first?
Oh yeah, you're right. That is a really good, interesting situation. I'm glad you pointed it out, so we have something to look forward to in terms of decision making.
Yeah.
Fairy there for Andy, despite having troubles earlier in the seed, is not interested in picking up that fairy or capturing it or anything. This is his trademark, rather aggressive style.
Right.
Seeing different mimic rooms from both players.
Monoci's opting to go directly to Helmasaur. with the big key in tow, I'm sure, unlike yours truly. But
That's right. That did happen. I remember that now. I think it happened to you and your opponent.
It did, yes.
It was different things, though. One of you went for the door and one of you went for the chest, and both of you were very disappointed. I have no idea what sort of time save or gain, if any, there is to this Helmosaur first route.
Your potential time gain here is that if Helmosaur has one of the items that you need, like let's just say theoretically, if Helmosaur drops you flippers in here, if you come across Ice Rod later, you can immediately mirror out without having to finish the rest of the dungeon. Whereas if you go the other way, you're guaranteeing you have to clear the whole place out because you're killing Helmosaur for the crystal anyway.
Oh, I got you. So it's a... I was going to say gamble. Maybe it's a gamble doing it the other way, or maybe it's just two different ways of doing the same thing. Either way, Helmosaur is getting the hammer taken to the mask. 2 spins is going to do it. Nicely done. Oh, we saw a bomb jump from Andy. The hammer jump, the hammer yump.
Yeah, the hammer yump. Classic part of the no major glitches run.
I know Andy has a 135 or so or something.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so he's familiar with the hammer yump.
Hammer yump is very forgiving horizontally, but is pixel perfect vertically. So
yeah, on both the bomb placement and Link's position afterwards. And the bridge is collapsing, so you probably want to be pause buffering to give yourself as much time as possible to find both pixels. Very, very tricky thing. For, fairly minor time gain.
Minor time gain in the randomizer, yes, for sure. Especially with the mirror.
So the players trading places. Andy on his way to Helmosaur's. Monoci is checking out some of these other locations. We found the cape.
We checked bumper. The players checked Bumper Cave though. There was nothing there. So with no flipper, Spike Cave, or Turtle Rock.
Yep, hammer opens up Turtle Rock as well. So.
Because
either way, Death Mountain going to be the play.
Yeah, because I think between both players, I think we've seen everything else. Like, Monoci has done the hammer pegs and Andy hasn't. But I think between the two of them, I think we've seen everything else.
Yeah, they while Monoci was doing that, Andy was doing catfish.
Right.
So there's we know where the players should go, but it's possible the players might switch and do the other's location. We'll see.
I imagine they probably would. You really don't want to, in particular, you really don't want to leave the ice rod somewhere and have that sinking feeling when you do find it that your opponent may have brought it up to Death Mountain on the first trip.
Helmosaur fight going well for Andy.
Oh, nice timing with the hammer there to use the recoil to avoid that fireball. Really well done.
Going with the poke spin. Very, very quick finish. As Monoci is checking, I think, the last few locations.
Yep. So this is the advantage to doing Helmosaur here, theoretically. I don't remember if the compass was in this chest or in the big one, but if it's in here, Monoci picks up a bit of time.
Oh, compass.
Yep. But he
gave himself the opportunity and then didn't quite get paid off for it.
All right. Almost in sync here, though. Well, both players leaving pod within about 10 seconds of each other.
This has been a fairly close, fairly back and forth race in some pretty odd ways that I definitely wouldn't have predicted going in.
Okay. Monoci's choosing to forego the Fat Fairy Pyramid Catfish route and heading straight up here to Turtle Rock and Spike Cave.
Yep, has had it with checking overworld locations and getting burned by dungeons, having the next required piece. Oh, Andy back in Thieves Town with the hammer. This is something we totally forgot.
Oh yeah, I thought it was the map in this big chest here, but maybe not.
Well, you could be right, and this could be a blunder from Andy. We'll see. As Monoci is opening up Turtle Rock. There's the hammer. Needed to open it that we were missing for so long. Chat confirming it is an item.
I'm seeing both in chat. I'm seeing item and map in chat. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Oh, and I missed his Hellway second time around. I think he got the pixel and the dash, and I missed it, and I'm sad.
Goose confirming he will sub to Andy if this is the progression. Let's see.
Oh no, Andy! He wasn't counting. Oh, that's gonna put him on tilt just a little bit, for sure. Where's he go? He's going to Hammer Pegs. He's right here.
Pegs, yeah. I wonder if Goose was counting items, so he knew that he wouldn't owe Andy any money.
Yep, I bet he was. Andy once told me that this is his favorite game, and so one of his advantages is he's played it so much that he never forgets anything. He once told me that.
He did. He really? Wow. You should bring that up in the interview after if he joins us.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. Meanwhile, we got more Turtle Rock locations. Nothing yet. The Burn-a-Dash straight through the rolling pins. Good to see. And Andy's checking Spike Cave. We haven't seen this yet. This was only recently opened up with the hammer. And it's possible that neither the Ice Rod nor Flippers is in Turtle Rock. Slim, but possible.
Possible.
Here's Spike Cave. Oh, hard container. Turtle Rock definitely got something. So if that was Flippers and then Ice Palace had Ice Rod, that would have been really something.
Yeah, it would have been. Even if it was just the Ice Rod, that really would have helped.
Yeah, and then like Trinex had Flippers or something.
Yeah, well, even just not having to go back in to kill Trinex again later would be a really nice time gain.
But all of it, all those dreams up in smoke.
Yeah, crushed.
It's also possible that both the Ice Rod and Flippers are here in Turtle Rock and they don't have to double dip.
Yeah, I think the Flippers pretty much have to be in here at this point. Again, unless we're forgetting a location somewhere, and not counting the mushroom or the powder leading to them.
Yeah. Andy's still got to open the dungeon up while Monoci's is already about halfway done. Maybe more. The elusive Flippers, are they in Mimic Cave?
Been a while since I've seen something worthwhile in Mimic Cave.
One of the worst things I've seen in here is the lamp.
Yeah, that's... Ugh.
20 rupees.
Just another big 20.
Most common item in the game. You should never be surprised to see it, but you're allowed to be disappointed.
And a compass. So unless we strike gold in the roller room here, all our hopes lie on Trinex of the laser bridge.
Getting invincibility from the hammer pegs, and then the bonk across. And you're going to be using the hook shot rather than the cane of burna in that rolling pin room.
Well, it's still possible that the ice rod is in the laser bridge and the flippers are on Trinex, so could happen.
Monoci's showing a bit of knowledge in the layout of Turtle Rock there, detouring for a refill of some health and magic. Just in case, I suppose, this... oh, it wants it for the burna that's going to get him to the flippers.
Gonna find the ice rod in here too. Pretty unlikely considering swamp and ice are open now. Yeah.
So there's the mirror out. Andy has no powder and is down to half a heart. Is going to be going up here. I think there's only one heart up here. Yeah, just one. Those chain chomps really gave it to him. And yeah, that means the Turtle Rock double dip is confirmed. Chat loves to see that one.
Already seeing the ice rod in Ice Palace, ice rod on Cold Stare coming up in the chat already.
I mean, it is the Ice Palace after all. You would think in the vanilla game that's where you would find such a rod. Not out of the way in some cave you have access to at the start of the game.
Ice rod in Ice Palace would give you all 3 pendant dungeons required, 2 of them being boss drops potentially. It's ugh.
And then you start to think like, well, if you'd finished off all the bosses, then you could have a butter sword.
Butter sword.
Our players might have scoffed at that sword upgrade on the pedestal, and now maybe their tune will change with some of these reveals. We'll see. Andy keeping it alive here at the 1.5 hearts in Turtle Rock.
All right, so all eyes will mostly be on Monoci's stream here to see if he comes across that ice rod.
Ice rod, all that's left for go mode.
Oh, that intentional death actually probably.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Quick health refill for Andy. Could be ice rod, could be one of those weird items like the mushroom or the powder, which is kind of annoying because it should be go mode, but then it might not be go mode. So you don't want to go into go mode early if you find one of those items.
So our tracker, Blasty G, with an excellent point. That mushroom has been sitting on the Lake Hylia Island this entire time.
Oh. And they have the flippers now, so they can finally go. Yeah, I totally forgot about the mushroom.
I totally did too. Again.
Yeah, that's why I told you I never rule out the possibility I've totally missed something. One day I'll get it all right. But until then, we do the best we can. Andy is down to 7 hearts, much better off than he was, as Monochi's is approaching yet another location to be checked here in Swamp. Big key. Good to find that now, I guess. Shield upgrade. There's a lot of items in Swamp.
A little surprised he's opting to go immediately to the left side.
Yeah, if you were to go straight to Argus and find that Ice Rod, you would not have to do any of this.
Right.
So this is maybe a bit of a pessimistic check here from Monochi's. I would not rule it out for either of these runners to have forgotten about that mushroom. We certainly did, and not that I think that automatically means they might, but I think these players would understandably be a little frustrated, a little tilted with some of the weird things that this seed has had them do, with how many times they've been left with looking at what is almost the last possible location.
Right. And both players taking deaths on Vitreous too probably felt like they not knowing their opponent also did it, probably feeling like they gave time away there too.
Times like that, the last thing on your mind is, what was on the Lake Hylia item?
Right. Yeah.
Andy is out of Turtle Rock and is grabbing onto the ledge a little bit there. Oh, I think... No, wait.
Silver arrows on the left side of Swamp.
Alright, that's going to speed up some boss fights. And, of course, the Ganon fight. Good to find. And depending on where the items end up being, could be something Andy misses.
Right. I mean, if Andy decides to go directly to the waterfall check here, something we haven't seen, actually.
Yep, Flippers also opened this up, and it's just more hearts. Andy's checked the pyramid for hearts, the waterfall cave for hearts. He's being killed with kindness here. Doesn't need this love. Needs an Ice Rod. Monochi's is down to 4 hearts, laid in Swamp, but with all the things that he has, I don't see Argus being nearly as much of a problem as Vitreous was.
No, especially not with Tempered.
Compass and Piece of Heart. I haven't been counting items, but there's, I guess, just one left. No, there's still this chest here. Another Piece of Heart. And Andy is going into Swamp now.
So I imagine if they remember, these runners, when they leave Swamp, will just immediately head right and pick up that mushroom.
We'll see.
Remember, yeah.
I know she's into the Argus fight. I think is going to be able to do the one cycle here. Yep. Has the bow with silver arrows out. This is, I think, a one shot on Argus. Missed it. How did that not hit him?
Yeah, that Argus hitbox is not is pretty small.
But it looks so big, and it's just an arrow capacity upgrade. So the mushroom is the thing?
I mean, Monochi still has a couple other things that he needs to check, but we know it's either mushroom or an ice palace.
All right, so decision time for Monochi's. Andy has less options to choose from. He's already checked some things that Monochi's hasn't, and Monochi's is heading. This could be ice palace or mushroom. We don't know. Should probably be, if it's mushroom, should be done first. And it isn't.
No, it's just heading straight into ice.
Also could have done waterfall cave there. but
Yeah.
didn't. So I don't know if this is a conscious choice or tunnel vision or what, but here we are in Ice Palace.
Considering that he passed on doing the overworld checks before he went up to Turtle Rock in the first place, I imagine this is a conscious decision on his part.
Yeah, I think you might be right with that reasoning. Monoci's opted for overworld locations like crazy, trying to avoid a double dip into Thieves Town. And once that came up dry, just totally switched gears and has been going dungeon, dungeon, dungeon. Andy's looking pretty good in Swamp here, coming up on the end of it. But really, Monoci's is the one to watch here as he's going to be opening up locations here in Ice Palace. How many items does Ice Palace have again?
3.
So it's the 3 here to the Mushrooms 1.
Of course, he still has to check Waterfall Ferry and the Fat Ferry Catfish Pyramid. That's all still open to him.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the decision that led him here, 3-1 incorrect. But in terms of what we could hope to see as viewers, odds are pretty good. There's something. Andy having a really good Argus fight, just 2 puffs left after the end of the little swirl there. Has regular arrows, because I don't think he did the west side, maybe? Or maybe this is... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I wasn't paying attention. He did skip the left side, so no silver arrows for Andy. This is very important.
I mean, it's interesting to see, actually, because the silver arrows aren't really going to help you on much aside from Ganon right now, and I'm not sure that the time investment in going left is worth the pickup on Ganon at this point, but...
You might be right. They don't have the gold sword. That doesn't make a difference, though, really, does it?
No.
Spins are the same damage.
He is going back in, though, so he will be getting his silvers.
Yeah, for better or worse, they are going to equalize here in terms of places checked in Swamp Palace as Monoci's is going further and further into ice. Compass here in... Is that the vanilla big key chest?
Yes.
I've totally forgotten the layout of Vanilla Ice Palace.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even when you do NMG, you don't really do Vanilla Ice Palace.
That's true. That's true. This dungeon can be done very quickly when you don't need to search it for items. You can skip a big chunk of it with a well-placed bomb jump, but we're here specifically for items in this case. So all of Ice Palace is what we're going to see until we run out of items. There it is! Ice Rod in the Ice Palace. A fitting location for it to be found. Monoci in go mode. Got away with not checking the pyramid, not checking the waterfall, not checking the catfish, not checking the mushroom. Big time gain. Lucky find for Monoci's, and is off to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, his overall routing honestly worked out really well. He did a lot of overworld when the overworld was lucrative, and bypassed it and did dungeons when it wasn't. And he went from being behind mostly due to a few unfortunate deaths to making all that time up and then some, and being on his way up to grab his last crystal here first.
Yeah, with only a mostly completed Turtle Rock left between Monoci's and Ganon's Tower, there's not a lot of game left to play, and with a whole dungeon back, it's gonna take more than execution to get back, and it's gonna take some kind of blunder from Monoci's for this race to go the other way. For now, it's theirs to lose. Andy's going right. Looks like we're seeing Mushroom.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like he's gonna sell out on dodging Ice Palace here.
This is even more time lost for Andy. Just got totally denied by the swag duck. Oh man, the morale must be so low at that point. Even the duck is just like, nope. Does finally turn in the mushroom.
Oh man.
Piece of heart. Oh yeah, I guess with the mushroom and the cane, could have done fake powder.
Yeah, true.
In case that Ice Palace had the powder and led to Ice Rod being there. That would have been an extreme edge case.
Yeah.
But I guess the possibility's gone now.
So silvers are in the left side of swamp. And the Ice Rod is in here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, in the room above the big chest.
Yeah, the double freezered room or above the big chest. Yeah, both work.
Doing a small loop-de-loop there is Monochi's. Doesn't quite have the timing to get past the fire bar, so just a quick flick of the cane of burner to solve that problem and stay as healthy as possible. Monochi's, I guess, a little concerned about health and dying two bosses. Can't blame him after the death to Vitreous.
Right. Did also take a really unfortunate death in the Igor room in Eastern Palace early on.
So if Andy decides to route Ice Palace differently, might find that Ice Rod a little sooner, but gonna take a lot more than that to come back from this, as Monochi's is already into the Trinex fight. Having a bit of trouble finishing it, but gets a quick 2-cycle. Lining up for the sword spin here. One, oh, not quite getting it. Finishing it off with 3 quick slashes.
Yeah. Still very nicely done. So it looks like Andy's going to opt to do the same route that Monochi's did.
Yep, it is, I think, probably the logical thing to do in this situation, but it's not going to work out for him. As Monochi's is dashing ever so quickly off to Ganon's tower.
So chat, we are on our way to Ganon's tower. 22 locations, 21 chests and a torch that can contain the big key. Go ahead and get your guesses in chat now.
Big key, where's it gonna be? I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna type it in. I'm playing on. Bam. I think it's gonna be 19.
All right, I went with 12.
We'll see. Depends what order that the players decide to check Ganon's tower. Possible chance for Andy if the big key's in a weird place and he does a weird route through Ganon's tower, but even that, he's still going to be behind. That's the lead that Monochi has at this point. Ice Rod for Andy, going to be getting the heck out of Ice Palace, hustling over to Turtle Rock. Small key on the torch, so Bob is dead. If you're wondering what's that about, maybe you're a little new in these parts, there is a sprite that inexplicably gets all garbled up whenever you don't get the item on that torch, because the game expects it to be required. And we've lovingly named that garbled sprite Bob. You can see it brutally being murdered in chat now.
I believe Bob is the result of the code that randomizes the item on the torch, correct? Is what...
I have no idea. Could be you know, in the vanilla game if you could somehow skip that item. Not sure. I like your explanation though. Big key found. That was 3-8, I think. The convincing announcer said. Congratulations to anyone who put in 8. Though I think the way we're doing this now is closest guess wins. But someone said 8. Cruxy. Hats off to Cruxy and Blue Green Mikey. Both players said 8. Zyrak, tell them what they've won.
For guessing the big key, you have won a spot on the leaderboard. Congratulations.
You know, that's a lot more than we were previously able to offer.
It was. This is actually, well, maybe tangible is not the right word, but, you know.
Are you kidding? Look at that. Look at that text is right there in chat with your name on it. Congratulations. That's right, chicken dinners. Hell yeah, we have a leaderboard. Get hype for the big key guessing game. Also get hype for the gauntlet. Monoci has silver arrows, but is going with fire rod with half magic. This is not a bad choice. The silver arrows are a little unwieldy. There's a lot of wind up. They travel slowly. They lag the game. So fire rod can be a quicker alternative. Not quite as powerful.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of fire rod strats in the gauntlet. At least if you have the half magic to support it, for sure.
Gauntlet going pretty good. Well-placed shot there and dashing all the way over to the horse head, taking care of him. Doesn't want anything to do with the fairy despite being at 4.5 hearts, so Monoci's is feeling good. It's possible that you could be feeling very not good. Ooh, very nice land molus. Ooh, it went left instead of right. Not able to track it down in time, so it's going to be a 2-cycle. But yeah, Monoci's had a couple deaths here, had a couple reasons to be frustrated, but is passing up a pretty juicy bit of safety there. Not that it's super easy to get all the way across the ice room with the BMOS to get over to that ferry, but still.
Yeah. And you can see that if the gauntlet starts to go rough, it can eat into your health really quickly. Even with red mail, Monoci's going through here on 4 hearts.
Andy going with the behind the back strats on Trinex, speeding it up just a little bit. Gets nipped there. Head just shoots out, but I think that was a 1-cycle for him. Has enough magic, does Monoci, to use this fire rod on these torches. And Andy gets the spin, so a very good Trinex fight. About as good as you can do with that tempered sword. Fortunately, it's looking like it's going to be too little too late. Monoci's lighting torches left and right.
Basically, would need Monoci to take a death on Ega 2 here, pretty much, to have a chance.
Yep. Even a mishap at the Ganon fight could be made up at this point. Not going to be checking the chest. Knows it can't be gold sword. Already has silver's half magic.
Very nicely done. Moldorm 2, yeah.
But nice enough to open the very last chest there.
Validating his run for chat's approval, I'm sure.
Waiting out the bumpers, dashing straight up. That room can get pretty out of hand if you try to be a little more aggressive. Down at 5 hearts makes sense.
Absolutely.
As Andy sets foot in Ganon's tower for the first time, standing there point blank next to Aga 2. Didn't quite work out.
followed up that miss with a couple of doubles, though.
That one I think is only a single because they both hit at
Yeah.
the same time. Which is unfortunate. You worked
Oh.
for the double you wanted. Wow, the 7-10 split there finally gets the last hit on Aga 2. And Andy appears to be going left side here in Ganon's tower. That's going to work out for him.
Unless he's doing the Dark Magician route in mirrors here.
I think in that one you go left first, right?
Oh, did he actually go right? I was actually watching Monoci, so if
I'm
not,
pretty sure he went right.
Then yeah, he's fine.
You're right, I was totally watching Monoci's too. The Aghanim fight, very important at that point. So down to 4 hearts with red mail. I think Ganon still does 4 if you hug him. It's way more damage than it should be, I know that much. Firebat's going to be doing 2.
Oh, and dangerous with the pitchfork there.
Yep. Pulling out the cape now for this very tricky Firebat phase. With no gold sword, you're going to need either 6 spins or 12 slashes. And so if you're worrying about the Firebats, chances are slim you can get all those hits in, especially with that position that Ganon gave him. So the cape secured that phase, and with silver arrows, the final phase is not going to be too much of a problem, so things are looking really good for Monochi's.
Yeah, just take it. No reason not to just take this, well, I mean, slow and steady to a certain extent.
Yeah, I'm sure in his mind, his heart is in his mind, his heart is racing.
Absolutely.
He's probably been expecting a dot done from Andy any moment now after all the hangups he had. He knows he's approaching the 2-hour mark, and there it is. Final hit delivered to Ganon.
GG's to Monoci.
Final SRL time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 16 seconds. Conquering a pretty tricky seed. Put these players in some odd situations, had them questioning whether or not Aghanim would be required an hour plus into the seed.
It's certainly, I don't know if I would go so far as to call it trolly, but interesting for sure.
I agree.
Decisions. Yeah.
At the end of the day, well, I don't know. They checked out a lot of those pendant dungeons. But you're right, it was nothing crazy. The kind of things that you can expect nowadays from a V26 seed. Just maybe more of those things than you might expect in any one given seed.
Right.
That vitreous situation that both players found themselves in, though, that was something. Yeah, we were talking about what the players' mental states might be. Both players confessing that they were on tilt actually very early in. We'll find out a little more about how they were feeling, hopefully, when we get a chance to maybe talk to them. They're blaming me now. I did give them the seed, but I don't know if that's fair.
Well, I think Andy was going to blame you regardless. I don't think you were going to be able to avoid that.
You're not wrong. So Monoci needs just a few minutes before we get a chance to talk to him. In that case, we might be seeing both players get in here around the same time.
Which is pretty fitting, honestly, because this race was really close for a very large portion of it.
Yeah, there were so many points where they actually were as close as they appeared. They had checked all the same locations and they were in the same dungeon, a couple rooms away. And then there were situations where it was still quite even, but they had checked different things and were in the process of checking different things. And Whoever found the thing first, the pendulum would swing all the way over that way. So the state of this race was in flux in a lot of different ways, but overall, they were actually quite even the whole way through.
Absolutely. They were, what, like 10 seconds apart leaving pod? Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, Monoci's in the waiting room, so we'll talk to him a little bit while Andy wraps up. Gannon, I've gone ahead and pulled him in. Monoci, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Good game, guys.
Good game, Monocis.
How did I win?
We were thinking you probably felt like you were behind in that situation.
I felt I was behind for like after the death in Eastern Palace. At least, and then the fire rod at Zora, that's probably, I'm behind like 5 to 10 minutes by then. That's what I'm guessing.
Well, and you were never behind by quite that much. We were saying this was a very volatile seed, and in terms of the way the race developed, you guys were often not doing the same thing at the same time, always doing things in different orders. But when everything all kind of averaged out, you guys were actually quite close the whole way through. Both of you had problems with that dark room in Eastern Palace. No death for Andy, but also, had some struggles. Both of you died to Vitreous.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I thought that one put me behind by 15 minutes right then. Like, it just add up.
Yeah, there were just a few items that were basically in like the last or next to last spot that they could be. So that pretty much pulled all you guys, kept you guys close together. Like Moon Pearl, Hammer, and Ice Rod in particular were almost in the last place that they could be.
Yeah, I dodged the Thieves Town because I didn't have the hammer, and then I saw I got Ether, and I went into Misery Mire right away, and then I just died in there. That was a shame.
Just make the call here on AND4H, finishing at with official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 55 seconds.
Yeah, actually wrapped it up with a fantastic Ganon fight. Pair of doubles.
And he is in the waiting room here. We can pull him in as well.
All right, we've got Andy with us now. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm pretty mad.
Yeah.
When every choice is the wrong choice, I tilted really hard. And my D-pad was fighting against me the entire race, as you can tell by the flute shenanigans. It was not one of my finest.
You managed to dodge the duck there.
No, not even then. I went to the wrong spot 5 different times.
I definitely saw at least one of those. But your execution at least seemed pretty good overall. There were definitely a couple rough spots.
Definitely sloppy. It's probably one of my sloppiest plays I've ever done, and I'm disappointed that it chose now to do it.
Yeah, this was a big race. You guys are both 2-2. Monoci's now moving up to 3-2. You're not out of it yet at 2-3, but that's to come later. Let's talk about where did things start.
Zora.
Yeah, that was when it started.
Yeah,
I think Zora was the last one for me too. So I think we're like about equal right there.
Yep. So yeah, this scene's really interesting to watch. I think you guys will, if you decide to watch it back, because you guys would constantly be in the same place, and then you would diverge to go to 2 different locations, and then you would come back to where you had to go almost simultaneously, and it happened like 3 or 4 times. Like you guys were almost synced getting your moon pearls. You left pod like 10 seconds apart. You both died on Vitreous on your first attempt, and had to go back for your hammers. I don't know, Mythical. I think the difference in the end was Monoci's deciding to go directly into Swamp and Ice after doing Turtle Rock, and Andy doing more Overworld that didn't pan out, I think, in the end.
Yeah, I think if you add up the time to check what Andy did, Pyramid and Waterfall and Catfish,
Again, never lucky. Yeah. So literally every choice I made was wrong.
It was all hearts. the heart container heart piece combo waiting for you in the fairy caves.
Oh my gosh.
There was some interesting stuff going on. You had the Cane of Burna at your disposal against Vitreous, Andy.
I know.
First time,
I
and
don't.
you
I
didn't.
don't like using.
You don't like it.
I don't like using Burna. If I had Cape, I would be using that. But I did not. I don't like using against Vitreous because you can't do spin attacks.
Monochi's feels differently, I think.
I just use it.
I also didn't expect that one eyeball to just perfectly dodge the arrow and bait me into lightning. That's really the thing that got me, because I was handling it until for some reason the hitbox grazed right by it, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta dodge this eye or it's gonna kill me.
And you
I
dodged
thought
like into the middle and then lightning.
Yep, it was just the perfect storm of unfortunate.
Yeah, but you were pretty aggressive. We saw, Cane of Burna up aside, we saw a pretty defensive take on Vitreous from Monoci. Monoci, I really liked watching that fight. Both of you, by the way, had 2 hearts your first time going in.
I butter knifed a moth. He deserved it.
That was another difference. Yeah, Monoci's had the Tempered Sword for that fight, so that was quite a different experience for you guys, I'm sure.
Gave him my old butter knife.
I don't even remember the early game and how it all shook out. I know Monoci's had a smoother Death Mountain.
Yeah, I kind of brain farted a lot. I was kind of like on tilt pretty early on. Like I said, once the second time it was the last possible location for me to check for something, everything was out the window. I was like, I am done.
I think at some point you'll find me saying like, it's when it's in these really difficult situations where there's not many places left. I think that's when the good players really shine and they're really able to focus and button down.
I mean, in an important race like this, you have to assume that your opponent got a little bit luckier than you in that case. Like, well, now I have to play extra hard. Playing from behind in a tournament race is different from playing just casually.
So do you think that influenced like the way you approached the Vitreous fight when you were at 2 hearts?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, again, I don't like using Burn on Vitreous because it lags the game and you can't spin attack with him. I just want to get through the fight quicker.
So still going all out there in that very risky situation. Didn't pan out. A couple of things didn't pan out. But it was still a really...
I also blanked really hard on Thieves Town. I thought I missed something. Like
Yes. I forgot. Much like you forgot that the map was in the.
That also kind of put me on tilt a little. Like I forgot that I just miscounted or something. Either way, it was frustrating.
All right. Well, it's time to put it all behind you. Tournament's not over yet. Not out of it.
Yeah.
At 2-3. So best of luck going forward to both you guys. Thanks for talking to us, and congratulations again to Monoci's on a win in a tricky seed.
Thanks, guys, for the commentating, and thanks, Weasel, for the restream.
That's right. Links are in chat if you want to give these runners a follow.
And should absolutely want to.
I can at least vouch for Andy. He's a cool guy. We're friends. Monochi, you seem cool too. Anyway, this is going to be it for our broadcast on Speed Gaming 3. We're done for tonight. Well, there's a 3 a.m. match.
There's a match coming up on Speed Gaming 3 right now. A 4-0 matchup. Kyle LPN versus Act the Boker.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I thought the match we're casting was the one that was starting for some reason. Yeah, okay, stick around. More
Absolutely.
A Link to the Past randomizer coming up. Thanks so much to you for joining me. Oh no, he got rid of the name. I know it's Zyrak. I was going to play Zycan.
Yeah, no problem.
Because it's Zyrakian if you want to follow
Twitch,
Zyrak.
Yeah.
And I'm Mythical 9. It's been a pleasure to cast this. Stick around for more Link to the Past Randomizer here on Speed Gaming 3. 4-0, gonna be a good one. See you there.
EA and Fillion having the call. Should be on their way in here. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.